walls. They live behind walls and gates, and they have guards all over the place. Me too. Because I want to be safe, and I want to make America safe, if you don't mind.
Presidential candidate Kamala Harris pushing for marijuana legalization at the federal level.
Listen, I think that it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy.
No longer a time in this country where we want to make jokes about addiction.
We have a freezing rain and ice storm warning for parts of Chicago into towards Toledo. The ice is what is going to be very concerning, that could cripple travel, and that's the concern.
There are those trying to implement socialism. So I again say for the world to hear, America will never be a socialist country. Never.
Chance, wherever you are on this Tuesday morning, it's snowy or wintry on this Tuesday for you, too.
That's right. That's a big headline this morning. Also, lawmakers reaching a deal in Washington. Possibly no government shutdown on Friday.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this deal actually is and what it is not.
That's right. We start with the Fox News alert. It was announced last night that lawmakers reached, in principle, a deal to secure the border and avoid a second partial government shutdown.
That's right. So now the clock is ticking for lawmakers to hammer out the details of this deal before Friday night's deadline.
All right, Griff Jenkins has been working on it, trying to get details on it, and he is live in Washington. Hey, Griff.
Hey guys, look, in principle does not mean done deal, but this could possibly give a way for both sides to claim some victory. Let's take a look. For the White House, it has $1.375 billion for 55 new miles of border barrier. Democrats are not calling it a wall. All of it will be in the Rio Grande Valley sector. And the Border Patrol can use any currently deployed design they want to build it. Now, for Democrats, a 17% decrease in ICE detention beds, reducing the number from 49,000 currently down to just over 40,000. But there could be some wiggle room here because DHS funding elsewhere could give them additional beds in the event of a surge on the border. The big question now is whether or not the president will sign this.
Well, I can tell you that a lot of things have changed, and we'll see what happens. I can't go into the exact deal. I just heard it very quickly.
Now, let me give you some perspective. The RGV sector has 316 river border miles total. It has 55 miles of existing wall. All of it is on the east side of the sector. There is no wall on the west side. Right now, in fiscal year 2019 so far, over 90% of the apprehensions are occurring on the west side. And those apprehensions are almost twice what they were this time last year, with more than 77,000 as of Sunday night compared to 38,000 in fiscal year 18. So those officials are telling me this morning, because I said, what do you think of the deal? They said, well, we could use 55 more miles on that west side. Guys?
The more, the better for the president. All right, Griff, thank you very much. So the White House needs to review it. Apparently, Nita Lowey, who is the House Appropriations Committee chairwoman, ran the deal past Nancy Pelosi last night, and Nancy Pelosi was okay with it. But then again, why wouldn't she be? Because she does not really cave to the president. You know, he wanted more miles. She's not going to give it to him. So for her, it's a win. And again, for the president, it's a win because it is more miles of fence.
But another thing is, she said, yeah, I'll give you 1.3, but not $1 for the wall, the fence, the barrier.
Well, whatever you
Remember,
call it.
barriers are immoral. Now, at least the money can go directly to whatever the president wants it to, and I'm sure it'll be the bollard fence in most cases, and the other fence when needed. And the thing is, if it takes 2017, we get 1.6, I think, billion. It took till 2018, here we are in 2019, to actually start building the wall this week. So the president's not going to be slowed down by the extra 50 miles because he needs that time to build. Next thing you know, 7 months will go by. September 30th will happen. He'll get allocated more money.
Isn't this negotiation? I mean, Nancy Pelosi said not $1, and now we're saying $1.4 billion. It's not what the president wanted. It's not even nearly close to what the president wanted, but at least it's something. And he wanted the 215 miles, and this is going to allow for 55 miles. But it is negotiation time, and this will fund the government through September, and then maybe they'll give him more at that point.
Right, that 25% of the government that was not funded through next September. But you got to wonder what the president has got up his sleeve, because while it does only provide a certain number of miles, it does sound like the president, when he said this, has a plan B or a plan C.
We're building the wall anyway. Illegal immigration hurts all Americans, including millions of legal immigrants, by driving down wages, draining public resources, and claiming countless innocent lives. The biggest proponents of open borders are rich liberals and wealthy donors. These are hypocrites who oppose security for you while living their entire lives. I do too, to be honest with you. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I also live behind walls, okay? They live behind walls and gates, and they have guards all over the place. Me too, because I want to be safe, and I want to make America safe, if you don't mind. So security should not belong only to the rich and to the powerful. Safety is the birthright of every American, which is why we must finish the wall. It's happening.
The president said we're going to build the wall anyway, and his chief of staff was interviewed a few days ago and said he'll take this money, he'll take a little bit money here, a little bit more here, he'll find a way to fund the wall.
We've been watching a lot for the Democratic candidates and saying what they want to do with the country. So is the president. He's got a theme and ready to build a theme. Number one, finish the wall. Number two, late-term abortion, not okay with him. And so there is the Green Plan, and he had a good deal. He had a good thing. He really took that on big time. He also took on socialism, the new trend among many Democratic candidates.
There are those trying to implement socialism right here in the United States. So I again say to you, and I say it for the world to hear, America will never be a socialist country. Never. Never. We're born free, we will live free, and we will die free. We will always be free.
So there he was last night in El Paso at the El Paso County Coliseum. And he's repeating the line from a week earlier.
Doubling down.
At the State of the Union. Mm-hmm. And remember where, you could see how half the hall at the State of the Union applauded and then the other half just sat on their hands. Well, in that hall last night, everybody was like, that's right, we'll never be socialists. Even though there are a number of people who are on the political left who are talking about that.
The socialists were half a mile down the road at the Beto O'Rourke rally, probably.
Yeah, that's why Howard Schultz is so determined to run away. Mayor Bloomberg might have a shot because they can't believe how far left the Democratic Party, which they belong to, has gone.
All right, so Chris Pratt defending himself, defending his church after Ellen Page, who's that actress, remember her from the movie Juno, there's her picture. She said she put out a tweet.
Right, he was on with Stephen Colbert.
Right, talking about his church and his faith, and she put out a tweet saying, if you're a famous actor and you belong to an organization that hates a certain group of people, don't be surprised if someone simply wonders why it's not addressed. Being anti-LGBTQ is wrong. There aren't two sides. The damage it causes is severe. Full stop. Sending love to all.
Okay, so this was the tweet, but his church is infamously anti-LGBTQ, so maybe address that too? Well, he did address his church on Instagram and said this. It has recently been suggested that I belong to a church which hates a certain group of people and is infamously anti-LGBTQ. Nothing could be further from the truth. I go to a church that opens their doors to absolutely everyone. My faith is important to me, but no church defines me or my life. My values define who I am. We need less hate in this world, not more. Chris Pratt, Instagram. There he is right there. All right, his values define who he is.
All right. The name of his church is the Zoe Church, Z-O-E. Is it Zoe or Zoe? And he is saying, he's been very outspoken about his faith, and that's why so many people love him, because when he's at the award shows, he gives credit to God, and he just seems to be a remarkable man. He just got engaged to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter, and his faith is important.
All right. So that's
Let us know
very
what you think about it.
Absolutely. All right. 8:10 now here in New York City, and Jillian joins us with Fox News Alert.
That's right. Some news out of Florida. So let's get you caught up, starting with this Fox News Alert right now. 3 U.S. Army soldiers are rushed to the hospital after an apparent parachuting accident in Florida. Crews were called to the Homestead Air Reserve Base. A spokesman says the soldiers were hurt during airborne operations early this morning. It is unclear how serious their injuries are. This base is the winter home of the Army's parachute team, the Golden Knights. Today, one of the women accusing Virginia's lieutenant governor of sexual assault will speak out publicly. Dr. Vanessa Tyson will be part of a panel titled Betrayal and Courage in the Age of Me Too at Stanford University tonight. This happening as several members of Justin Fairfax's staff resign over the allegations against him. Fairfax has denied the allegations and called for an FBI investigation into them. Now, another Fox News alert. Just moments ago, retired astronaut Mark Kelly announcing he's running for Senate in Arizona, the seat once held by John McCain. Kelly, the husband of former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, has been a vocal advocate for gun control since Giffords was shot at an event with constituents in 2011. 6 people were killed. Kelly flew his first mission with NASA in 2001. Tonight, one lucky pooch will be declared top dog at the Westminster Dog Show. The competition is heating up in New York City with some family drama. Bourbon, the Whippet, chasing her brother Whiskey out of the competition. Well, she was later beaten in the Hound group and eliminated. Guess that means karma came back to bite her.
So,
Bourbon and Whiskey are their
Bourbon and Whiskey
names.
are brother and sister. Look at that. All right.
That was my attempt at a funny.
That was good, Jillian.
All right. Meanwhile, Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar apologizing this morning for her anti-Semitic comments, but one of her colleagues not buying it. Congressman Lee Zeldin, a Republican from New York, says she needs to be punished. You'll hear him live next.
Plus, talking about deflating, one town just banned both.
Free story every 15 minutes. Fox News Headlines 24/7, Channel 115.
A freshman Democrat in Congress forced to apologize after members of both parties accused her of anti-Semitism for tweeting, "It's all about the Benjamins, baby," suggesting lawmakers are being bribed to support the country of Israel. It's not the first time Ilhan Omar has made anti-Israeli remarks, and fellow Congress members, including our next guest, are calling to kick her off the Foreign Affairs Committee. Republican Congressman from New York, Lee Zeldin, joins us from D.C. Lee, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You say there's a double standard. Why?
Yeah, just last month you had House Democrats tripping all over each other, running to the floor of the House of Representatives to condemn white supremacy in a resolution that named Congressman Steve King. He apologized. He was still thrown off of his committee assignments. Now we have those same members, many of them tripping all over each other, running away from the House floor so they don't have to condemn anti-Semitism. And they are accepting an apology via Twitter that unfortunately is not the end of it. This also isn't the first time. The apology itself states that it's an unequivocal apology, but it's filled with equivocation. And as you just played that tweet that said all about the Benjamin's baby and how Congresswoman Omar was tweeting at me last week that said thank you next from Ariana Grande. Her apology comes across as, sorry not sorry from Demi Lovato. I don't take it as a real sincere apology. And when she was asked about it last night on video, you see a lack of empathy and true understanding.
Well, what do you make of Nancy Pelosi's response?
Well, I think it's good that she spoke out yesterday. I think it was great over the course of 24 hours from Sunday evening that you had a lot of people breaking their silence, speaking out about this anti-Semitic trope. It is infiltrating, it's anti-Semitic, and there's anti-Israel hate that's infiltrating American politics. We're seeing it on college campuses. It's infiltrating the halls of Congress. You can't empower that. You can't elevate it. You have to confront it, and you have to crush it, or it will just continue to grow legs. We'll see it more and more like a cancer across our country. So I'm hearing from 18, 19, 20-year-olds on college campuses who have multiple stories, Jewish students of confronting anti-Semitism. I think it's good to speak up, but there's more that needs to get done in this case.
What do you mean it's infiltrating the halls of Congress? That's disturbing.
Yeah, well, we're seeing so in 2008, 2012, 2016, the Democratic National Convention, there was a move to put in anti-Israel, pro-BDS language and more that fortunately didn't make its way in. Right. You're going to see that exposed again in 2020, but right now with new freshman members that are elected to Congress and some of their positions and statements, as well as associations of other members of Congress with people like Louis Farrakhan, Tamika Mallory, Linda Sarsour. Right. Those associations are problematic as well.
You're not going to drop this, are you?
No, I shouldn't. I'm hearing from people from not just my district, from all across the country who are outraged by the growing amount of anti-Semitism here in our country and around the world. They want to confront it, and they're not going to just turn a blind eye, put their head under the sand and be ignorant and naive to what the reality is, understanding that this isn't just a one-time offense. This has happened over the course of several years with this member, and when she was asked about the reaction to her positions and statements last week, she called it exciting. So if she's going to be out there and with a position that is encouraging a very negative atmosphere that innocent American Jews and others are going to confront, well then I'm not going to be silent about it. I'm going to confront it.
All right, well, you're doing that this morning on this program. Lee Zeldin, Congressman from New York. Lee, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
All right. So what do you think about that? Email us, friends@foxnews.com. Meanwhile, straight ahead, one grocery store chain is putting out a message in its weekly flyer. It says right there over the black bar, heaven has a wall, a gate, and a strict immigration policy. Hell has open borders. Let that sink in. The store owner is going to join us to explain why he's supporting President Trump and what that message had to do with President Trump. Plus, he won Defensive Rookie of the Year, but this young football star just made a big play off the field for his mom.
We are back with some quick headlines. Letting go of balloons could cost you $1,000 and up to 15 days in jail. The town board in East Hampton, New York, unanimously voting to ban the intentional release of balloons. Supporters say that they litter communities and they kill the wildlife.
It's going to get Alec Baldwin mad.
Georgia is the latest state to consider taxing streaming services like Netflix. Under a new proposal, users would have to pay 4% sales tax. The revenue would be used to subsidize internet lines in rural areas. At least 4 states already have the so-called Netflix tax.
Look at that. Meanwhile, a southern grocery store chain facing backlash for including this message at the top of its weekly ad. It says, notice about that bar right there, heaven has a wall, a gate, and a strict immigration policy. Hell has open borders. Let that sink in.
And while religious messages are nothing new to the store's weekly flyers, dozens of people are saying this is just too political.
The owner of Max Cash Saver Grocery Store is standing by the message. Reggie McDaniel joins us now. Good morning, Mr. McDaniel. Why was it important for you to put that message out?
Good morning.
Why'd you put that message out, Reggie?
Yes, sir. What the message I was making, I knew that the border deal was hot, but I've been looking at this message on Facebook for 6 months. And I saw it on there, and I just posted it up there. I wanted people to realize that heaven has walls and borders, and we have to get in that gate. And the only way we get in that gate is through Jesus Christ himself. And maybe I should have included in that John 3:16, so they'd realize how you get in that gate. Most people are not familiar with Revelations in chapter 22, where it talks about walls and borders. Right. And the open borders represents any lost person that wants to be, that don't want to. They can do all the sin and do it as much as they want to. But God has a place for us to go, and he has a salvation for us. And that's what I was trying to do. I had no idea it would be this big, but the bigger it got, the more the message is going to get out there.
What's the
I'm proud we done it, and I'm really proud of it. And I stand by my message that Jesus Christ is our Savior, and we need him to get in that gate. Everybody's not going to heaven, and it seems like it makes people mad when you tell them that, but they got to have Jesus to get in, the blood of him.
What's the response been?
Sir?
What's the reaction when you put the ad out? Are people giving you a thumbs up, thumbs down?
The first few reactions was really negative. Then we went on a news station and I gave them a statement for about 15 minutes. I talked to them and they played that, and it's been probably 90% positive. Now we'll have one of those people latch on to us from somewhere from out of the country or somewhere way away that they talk so filthy and so pitiful. I don't even know why Facebook lets it stay up there. And that's what amazes me is what the filthy talk of the people that latches on to us and the people that does that. All we try and do is give a simple message that Jesus loves you, and it did get out there. It accomplished what we wanted to, and I'm proud of that because I stand for Jesus. Yes, sir.
One person said this is disgusting, and they're vowing no longer to shop in your grocery stores. What do you say to those folks?
I don't have anybody that's personally told me they wouldn't shop with me. I saw a few things online. I don't read all that negative stuff. I really focus on the positive and focus on taking care of our customers. I have churches all over this community has texted me and called me this morning at 5 o'clock on praying for us to do this and praying to stand firm in what we do. And every one of my customers I've faced has told me the same thing. Stand firm, we stand with you. And that's all I need. As long as I'm in God's will, I'm happy. The grocery business will be fine. It's always been. We've been doing this since the 50s. Right. It's the way I make a living. God will feed me like this as long as He wants to. And the grocery business will be fine. My customers will stand by me, and I believe that. They know who I am, and they know what I stand for.
All right. Reggie McDaniel, owner of Max Cash Saver Grocery Store in Shreveport, Louisiana. Doubling down. Happy you put it out there. And I saw from the circular your ground beef is $1.99 a pound. Thank you, sir, for joining us live.
Thanks, Mr. McDaniel.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Was it sirloin or chuck?
I think it was 90% ground beef.
Okay,
I
good.
love the circulars.
I'm one of the few people with. I've made chopped meat before. I'll talk about that in a break. Yeah, I worked in a meat store.
Should put that in your next cookbook, Steve.
I will indeed.
One driver taking road rage to a new level, trying to run over people because they threw snowballs at her car. The shocking moment on camera. You're seeing some of it.
Plus, Todd is having breakfast with our friends down in El Paso after President Trump and Beto O'Rourke's dueling rallies. Hey, Todd.
Hey guys, we're of course talking about those rallies, but it's also about the food. If you've watched this morning, I've had a taco, unclear if it was with Brian's own chopped meat. I've also had fried chicken, and now let's wash it down with some pie. More Fox News.
Just so you know, we're building the wall anyway. There's no place better to talk about border security, whether they like it or not, because I've been hearing a lot of things, oh, the wall didn't make that much of a difference. You know where it made a big difference? Right here in El Paso. There's so much to celebrate in our country, the economy, the military, and I say it for the world to hear, America will never be a socialist country. Never. And America is winning again. Isn't that nice?
So the president mentioned El Paso last week in the State of the Union, and he was actually in El Paso last night. This morning, Todd Pyro's there.
He is at Elmer's Family Restaurant, right there. You see it on the map. Talking to the good folks there. Hey, Todd.
Hey guys, we're having so much fun here. The food is amazing. Last night, as you saw, we spoke to Beto. We spoke to his supporters. Here's what the supporters had to say about building that wall. Take a listen. You don't want a wall. Why?
It's a waste of money. Well, I know from the fact base, first of all, that it doesn't do anything. It's not necessary. And it's not the way that drugs and terrorists come into our country.
I don't like borders. The wall has no purpose. Even if he built it himself, I still wouldn't care because we would find a way around it.
If you were president, would you make the United States a sanctuary country?
Oh, heck yeah. Bring them all. Bring your tired, bring your hungry, bring your weary. We accept them all.
Now we have some different opinions here at Elmer's. We begin with Bethany. Bethany was at the rally. Bethany's a small business owner, and you say you went to the rally, you want to support Trump because you love what he's done for your business. Why?
You know, having a president who really understands the economy and numbers has made such a difference, and we have the greatest economy we've ever had, and it really helps small businesses grow. He's been able to remove throttling regulations and help us be able to grow our businesses.
And you've paid your workers more.
Yes, yes, I've been able to increase their salaries.
Good stuff. All right, Bethany, thank you. Adolfo, at the rally, you loved it, you had a great time, and you say as a Latino, you get really frustrated when people call Trump supporters racist. Why?
Just the thought that they say that frustrates me, because the party as a whole is not racist. We're open to everybody. We're inclusive. I get offended just by the comment itself, because we're not racist at all. I am Hispanic, and I'm proud to be that.
And it was a pretty diverse crowd there, right?
Oh, very, very diverse last night. Very good.
And somebody who really saw that firsthand is Justin. He volunteered at the rally. You were talking to me about the diversity. What did you see?
I saw so many people that were Hispanic there, and they were so ravenous about how much they love President Trump.
And they wanted the wall?
They wanted the wall. They really did.
Why did you choose to volunteer?
Because he's the only president in my lifetime that I actually remember that actually does what he says he's going to do, from the campaign trail up until now. Everything he says, he does.
Justin, thank you. Ray Bob, you say there was a unity of people at the rally. What do you mean?
Oh, it was awesome. It was great to see so many people from the community, diverse backgrounds, that were here to support the President of the United States. And it was great to watch everyone be able to look through the fake news and come up with an idea that says, you know what, there is a problem here and we need to fix it.
Ray Bob, thank you. And finally, we go to Dan. Dan, your favorite part of the rally was when President Trump talked about his focus on faith and family. Why?
Right at the end of his speech last night, faith and family, and he also mentioned that the government and bureaucracy is just getting us nowhere.
Understood. Dan, thank you. Thank you all. What a great diner. Amazing time. Thank you to the owners. They were so kind to us. We can clap. And with that, I know I just had pie, but enchiladas are my favorite, and I'm going to eat enchiladas. So we'll see you guys back in New York tomorrow. It's time for Toddy to eat.
That was Todd's Jeb Bush moment. Please clap. Remember?
Yes, Jeb. But nobody clapped for Jeb.
They really, they felt it.
Excited to see Todd there. That was great. All right, 22 and a half minutes before the top of the hour, and Jillian joins us right now.
Yes, good morning.
2.5 minutes till the top of the hour.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we're following a story.
Now 23.
Okay, should I go now?
Yes,
no? Okay.
you can go.
Okay, so the newspaper carrier finds an abandoned baby in the freezing cold in the middle of a road. The carrier took the baby girl into his car and called police in California. Officers wrapped the newborn in blankets and took her to the hospital. She will be okay. Police are looking for the child's mother. She could be charged with attempted murder. A driver speeds towards a group of people in a snowball fight. The frightening moments caught on camera in Seattle. Watch this. The driver tackling a man she claims was throwing snowballs at her. She's under arrest for reckless driving and DUI. No one was hurt. A Florida homeowner holds a would-be thief at gunpoint until police could get there. The man catching the crook trying to bust into his garage just south of Daytona Beach. He ordered him down to the ground as his wife called 911.
He's on the ground at gunpoint, man. He's cursing at me. I'm out here with my wife. Please get them here.
The suspect is charged with attempted burglary. He told police he was lost and looking for a neighbor. The NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year surprises his mom with a brand new Mercedes-Benz. Listen to that excitement. That's Colts linebacker Darius Leonard posting his mom's priceless reaction with the caption, quote, "We've been through so much. Now it's like we're on top of the world."
That is so
Gotta
sweet of him.
Yes.
For everything she did for him.
Yep.
Yes. And
that's
she
excellent.
loved it. I like her
Obviously.
reaction.
Yes.
Who wouldn't?
Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you.
All right, millions are waking up to a winter mess this morning.
Snow and ice sweeping through the Midwest, and now it is moving across the Great Lakes into the Northeast.
Janice Dean is tracking the dangerous system on Fox Square. Hey, Janice.
Here it comes. We're getting some snow here in New York City, and I want to make sure people are not focused on snow totals, because although we usually do that, this is going to be a significant ice event. Let's take a look at the maps, and I'll show you where we're getting that icing. You can see it's 29, so the temperature has dropped a couple of degrees here in New York City, so any precipitation coming into this region is going to be snow. We are getting some snow here in New York City, light rain in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. You're right on the cusp of the freezing rain and or sleet, and you can see the forecast precipitation. Here's what I'm concerned with. The pink on your screen is the potential for accumulating ice across portions of Jersey, upstate New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, in towards New England. So that's going to be the big concern, not the big snow totals, but the icing, especially in the afternoon commute. That's why a lot of schools are closed today, just in anticipation of that. Across New York City, Long Island, much of Pennsylvania, upstate New York, and then into Connecticut, and then it's going to continue up towards New England into the overnight. This year, so winter ain't over yet. I should have consulted the groundhog. Back inside.
You did. You were at Puxatawny.
I know.
And early spring, supposedly.
It still could happen.
I think it will.
Just not this week.
All right. Thank you. JD.
We'll wait till March. It's still February. Let's be honest. This is when snow should happen.
True.
And spring does officially start in March.
Sometimes it does happen
21st.
in March, too.
All right. Meanwhile.
Democratic lawmakers pushing late-term abortion laws nationwide, but a new survey says most pro-choice Americans don't like it. Our next guest says those Democrats should take notice.
And President Trump talking illegal immigration with sheriffs from around the country. One sheriff at that meeting yesterday at the White House says a border fence cut crime in his area by 91%. You're going to hear it from him coming up.
Fantastic men and women. And they know what we're up against. We're up against people that want to allow criminals into our society. And you explain that one.
President Trump calling out Democrats and their push to expand late-term abortion.
Millions of innocent, beautiful babies are counting on us to protect them, and we will. That is why last week I called on Congress to immediately pass legislation prohibiting extreme late-term abortion.
And it looks like most Americans agree with him. A brand new survey released overnight shows 80% of all Americans oppose late-term abortions, which is third trimester and after, and 68% of pro-choice Americans oppose it that far along as well. Catherine Glenn Foster is the president and the CEO of Americans United for Life, the group behind this survey, and she joins us now to weigh in on this. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So why did you decide to do this survey?
We wanted to find out what the true views of Americans really are and to inspire Americans to be able to hold their elected officials and their public institutions to account.
Were you shocked when you found out, I mean, the majority of pro-choice individuals
they appear to be born, and of course been born. Vast majorities oppose all of these procedures, and
the majority of people in America aren't for it.
yeah, they are out of touch with the ordinary American. They are out of touch with their constituents, and they need to stop this really reckless push towards late-term abortion and towards infanticide. It's simply wrong.